Hello and welcome to my channel. In earlier videos of Flutter application development, we covered couple of topics like setting up the SDK and setting up the Android Studio for Flutter application development. We even tried the test drive. So right after that, like based on the documentation, the next step is to write the first application. I went through this article or say the documentation or say this page, but I believe for beginner it's a little bit complex. So even for me, not complex, but it is difficult to explain for extreme level beginners. So in order to have the ease of onboarding process on the Flutter application development, I chose a different path. So let me explain the path which I have chosen, and we can try that out. So we are back on the home screen of the Flutter development page, and on the menu you can see development menu, and we have the learn option. I'm gonna click on it and scroll down. So here we have three options under the segment. So I would keep using the beginner because I'm also a beginner, and gonna click on this start the beginner journey, right? Out of all of this option, I think we want to focus on the user interface. As far as I understand, we have covered couple of topics out of this, like let's say for example installation guides. So for now, these are not the exact steps, like let's say if you want to get started, you can follow this. While installing, you can go through this, or if you already know other application development, you can read these articles. But we want to learn more about user interface development. That's what I'm interested in, and I believe you people also would be interested in building the user interface and have your hands on the application development. So this is where you should start. In Flutter application development, everything is a widget. So in this video, I would try to cover couple of widgets. So let's get started. I'm gonna click on this introduction to widgets. Now here we have a piece of code inside this dart pad, and inside the run application we have center, and inside that we have a text. Okay, so as it says, everything is widget, and here we have two widgets. So in the Android Studio, this is like template code which we were able to generate in the last video. If you haven't checked that video out, find the link in the description below and make sure you check that out. So this is pre-generated code, and we don't know what it is. So for now, I'm going to comment this out, and inside the run application, I want to add, let's say, one widget which is named text widget. Okay, so how do I know about this widget? So it's, for example, it is in the hello world example, and we can explore all the widgets which are pre-built for us using the Flutter. So in order to find all the widgets or see all the widgets, all you have to do is click on the widget catalog, and I'm gonna open that in a new tab and switch to that tab. So in this there are many categories. I'm choosing the basics one right now. Here you can see there is an app bar, there is a column, container, Flutter logo, icon, and placeholder at the bottom. So these are like, I believe sorted alphabetically, and that's why the text widget is at the end. So if I click on it, it would redirect to, let's say, the documentation or the specs for that particular widget, and you can find an example over here. Let's say, for example, in this one we have the text widget with the first parameter is the text, and there are additional attributes or function parameters supplied to it. So you can take a look at that, or you can scroll down and see different properties or constructors or the other methods. So for now, all we want to do is just display a text on the screen. So let's do that. So let's switch to Android Studio and add a text widget inside it. So let's add text and say hello world. And the moment I do that, I am getting sort of warning. So let's click on this bulb and it says add a const modifier. So the widgets which are basically stateless, Flutter or say Dart recommends to prefix it with the const keyword. So okay, now that we have added it, we can run the application. Without that also we can run the application, and in case if you are not sure when to add, leave that to editor, and editor would basically give you the warning when to add the const keyword. So from the device drop down, I'm going to select Chrome web application or Chrome, the web output basically. In case if you don't see that option, you might have disabled or did not select the option for the web. So let me explain how to do that. Click on File, New, Flutter Project, select Flutter, click on Next. So while creating the project, make sure you have enabled the web, and once you do that while creating the project, you would be able to see that in the drop down of the devices. So I would select the Chrome web output or say the device and click on the run button. So it would basically just show the hello world in the browser output. So and we are trying to run this for the first time, I think, on the Chrome, and that's why it is taking time. Now that you can see the Chrome is launched, and I think we are seeing some error here. No directionality widget found. Okay, it means it is trying to indicate us that you're supposed to specify the direction. So let's get back to the documentation and go to the introduction. Here in the example or say the hello world, you can see that we're supposed to specify the text direction, and I would explain you why we are supposed to do that. So let's first add the text direction. Let's say I just copy pasted it from the documentation. If I want to do it manually, all I have to do is hit Control key and space, and then in here you would see the bunch of parameters or attributes which you can supply to the text widget. So, and for this parameter you would also see that what kind of parameter you're supposed to pass. So I'm gonna say text direction, and the moment I start typing, it would give me the pop-up left to right, right to left. So I'm gonna select left to right, left to right. Yes, that's correct, not right to left. Okay, and try hot reload. Okay, now it's tiny. Let me increase the font size over here. Okay, even though I zoom, yeah, it's visible now. Hello world, you can see that over here. So it's there, but it is like, sticking on the top left corner of the screen, which I don't like. So let's say if I want to show that on the center of the screen, for that there is another widget called center widget. I think it is covered in the basics category. So let me see. Okay, it's not here, but it is used in the hello world example. So let's switch back to Android Studio and try to center it. So I'm gonna wrap this widget inside the center widget. So let's cut this text widget code and start typing the center widget name. And yeah, okay, what do I do now? So if you don't know anything about the widget, all you have to hit is control space and you would be able to see the set of attributes or function parameters which that widget constructor has. So we are going to use the child attribute, so center widget, and in center widget we want to show something which would be the text widget. Okay, now all of this are having underlines, so I'm gonna click on the bulb, add the const modifier, and those underlines are gone. So I don't have to worry about where to add const at the moment, but once you start using Flutter once you start coding, you would soon realize when to use const keyword. It would be same or say applicable for me as well. All right, now let's hot reload and see that reflected over here. So we just talked about center widget as well as the text widget. Now similar to that, there are other widgets in the basics category. So let's say if you want to place elements next to each other in a row fashion, there is a widget called row, and you can have children's inside it. So if you take a look at the center widget, it has only one child, but in case of row or column, you can have multiple widgets inside it. So that's about the row and column widget, but I want to talk about one more widget called scaffold and the material app. So this all are basically the widgets called primary widgets or basic widgets. And in order to run this on the, let's say, Android emulator, this won't work. Let me try running this inside emulator. So I'm launching the Android emulator, and instead of Chrome, now I'm going to select SDK G Phone 64 ARM64, which is the emulator. Now if I click on run, I think I would run into errors because these are the basic widgets which can be run into the web application, but not inside the applications like macOS app or Android app or iOS app. So let this task finish and we would be able to see the errors. Okay, it's installing, so we would be able to see the result anytime. Okay, so I was wrong. It is in fact working, but here you can see it is plain blank black screen, plain blank black screen. But if you look at any other applications, let's say for example Google Play Store. Okay, I am not signed in, so let's take a look at the messages application. All right, so here on top of the screen you see the search bar, and you have the floating action button over here. Yeah, that's the name of it, floating action button. And it has a text, it has the icon. So these are different examples of the widgets that Flutter provides. Now, in order to build the application in a standard material design way, Flutter has given us the material components and which we can utilize. So we don't have to design everything on our own. Let's say for example, in order to design this, you might be creating a widget which would have a background, and then inside that you might add a row, and in row you might add an icon and a text. But you don't need to do all of it when you have a widget called icon button. So those are like pre-built components or widgets basically, which is supplied by the material package basically. So let's try using some of those in this tutorial. I think I have covered more than 7 to 8 minutes, so maybe we can talk about it in the next video. So I'm gonna take a pause here, and we would talk about the material app, scaffold, and other widgets in the next video. Thank you for being with me and watching my video. If you like my video, hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thanks again, and stay tuned for more content. Have a good day. Bye.